415, strong over 20-30 on the Niners.
Okay. Yep.
Captain Meltdown. We'll never win a championship.
I guess. I mean, Captain Meltdown, if you think about, like, the sports where you can be, I guess, better than decent. You can be good, not elite, and win. Like, the NBA, you can't just be good and not elite and win usually, because there's one elite team. This year there's two, and they're facing each other tonight in Game 3, and I believe that one of them is going to win it. Baseball, you can be good but not elite and win it, and I think the Giants, all 3 times they won it, were good.
Yep.
They weren't the best team, but they were in October.
Yeah, exactly.
And in football, it's a little bit like that, where, you know, the 49ers, they had home field advantage with Raheem Mostert at running back. And, you know, they were able to run that table. What was it, Jimmy G and Raheem Mostert?
Yep. And Mostert went for 1,011 yards in the NFC title game alone.
I was there.
You know what I mean?
That thing was hilarious.
Oh, my God.
I was screaming from the 12th row, hey, they're going to run it. Nobody listens to me.
No, they knew.
Right.
They knew, and nothing they could do about it. So it's funny how we look at head coaches, because I would argue that America's watching the Thunder and Spurs right now, and 95% of the audience couldn't even name either of the coaches.
Right.
So
Billy Donovan and Greg Popovich.
Exactly.
Might have that wrong, but
possibly.
Yeah.
It's possible that neither of them are coaching the NBA right now.
That's right.
Actually.
Possibly.
But I'm not skirting responsibility for head coaches. I think head coaches matter. It's varying degrees in different sports and at different times. But, you know, as he puts it, Captain Meltdown will never win a championship as a head coach. I've been steadfast maintaining this for years. All right, what if we lean into that for a second? What is the characteristic of Kyle Shanahan where so many people think he's a really good head coach? They win a lot of games. His players seem to respond to him, but he'll never win the last game. Like, do a lot of you actually think there's a characteristic there that he has that works until February, and then it doesn't work anymore?
Right.
Really, really good. September, October, November, December. Really, like, excessively good in January. But then in February, he's a boob.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just asking the question, do you really believe that he has some characteristic that makes whatever it is that he does successfully not work in the last game?
Maybe it's the length of the halftime in the Super Bowl, because he gets in his own head. He overthinks things and stuff, and he double thinks it, and you come out and, you know, man, I had too much time to think about my game plan.
Maybe.
And I'm being obviously way sarcastic, but think about Andy Reid and how he couldn't win the big one. Oh. He went to Philly, and his best player played on a broken leg, and you lost that game, and they had so many chances. And you know what, Andy? You've got to go. Here's Patrick Mahomes. How's that going to work for you? Pow, pow, pow. Seriously. So did Andy Reid suddenly become somebody who could navigate February?
And actually, I should rephrase it. It's not even that Kyle Shanahan can't succeed in February. He just can't succeed in the fourth quarter. He had the lead after 3 quarters both times.
He was up 28-3 in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Not a head coach, but...
And by the way, for those of you who want to use that, as the offensive coordinator, when they got the ball back, it was 28-9. So if you want to defame him for blowing a 28-3 lead, which he did, and he was the coordinator, when he got to coordinate again, it was 28-9.
Do you know how many things have to happen consecutively to overcome a 28-3 deficit in a football game, no matter who's playing? To blame all of those things on a human is objectively ridiculous.
Well, he fumbled. I don't know. That was Matt Ryan.
Right.
Sorry about that.
And Julian Edelman caught that ball in that weird way because of...
Kyle was in coverage.
Yeah.
Kyle was playing too soft.
I just went I wonder, the people who, if you use that, and you can because that's the story right now, but I wonder if that's the actual belief, or is it just a fun thing that you say? Kyle will never win the big one because he's a boob and he doesn't know overtime rules? Or do you think there is a characteristic that only shows up at the end? I ask that genuinely.
Right. I don't know what characteristic that would be. And, you could look at a marathoner who is really good at 25 miles, but just can't close it out. And you could think, okay, maybe they're just not totally fit to go 26.2. And it's so rare that somebody is that successful and then they get to the end and it's like, oh, I can't do it any further. I got locked up.
Yeah. I also, I'll never win this battle, but we all get to believe what we believe. Kyrie Irving thinks the earth is flat. You'll never convince me that Kyle Shanahan did not know the overtime rules. Someone just texted that in. Like, I know Kyle Juszczyk said out loud that he sounded confused, but I go to bed at night with Kyle made a decision that didn't work. But based on what was going on defensively at that time, I think that that's who he wanted on the bench, resting in that moment.
Right.
And he has spoken on that. You're allowed to call him a liar if you want, but I think it's kind of crazy to think that that a head coach in the NFL is that maniacal. These people don't go home during the season, and he did not know the overtime rules. I think it's kind of a crazy thought.
It is crazy.
But anyway, I know most people believe it.
Well, there's life injected in it when I think it's Travis Kelce or it might have been Mahomes, and they start screaming, they want the ball. They want the ball. And so that made it,
made it look
the
worse.
On-field audio made it even worse because, they wanted the ball. But if you want to go back to that game and look at it, the defense was gassed. And should you have put your gas defense out there? That way you would have the last say on offense. Maybe you could argue that, but he saw it a different way.
Conventional wisdom doesn't always win out. I wonder if Ketel Marte was walking to the plate the other day going, they want the lefty. They want the lefty.
Right.
They're like, who knows? I don't know. Conventional wisdom. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Justice De Los Santos in like 5 minutes. You want to do the last one?
Let's do the Sharks.
The Sharks. The San Jose Sharks. And again, if you're just joining us, I put together, I try to put my Vegas cap on, and what I view as a fair over-under for when these 5 teams, Niners, Giants, Warriors, Valkyries, and Sharks, when these 5 teams will or won't win a championship next, the over-under. And yes, you probably would be a smart bettor if you parlayed the over for all 5, because this is really hard. And our minds work in, it's sort of like this is how long it should take before the coach should be on the hot seat if it doesn't work. Well, how long, when Steve Young won the Super Bowl, from then until Steph Curry arrives and wins a ring, what's that gap? And actually, I guess it would have been the Giants next in 2010.
Right.
So that was 16 years?
So Curry gets drafted in 2009, and 2010, pow. And
the Giants win.
12, it's pow.
Right.
14, kaboom.
Mm-hmm.
And then 15, the Warriors. And then 17, the Warriors. 18, the Warriors.
But what was the gap between Steve Young and Buster Posey? Those 15, 16 years?
That's about right.
So there's a big gap in there. And if I said to everybody right now in 2026, the next Bay Area championship would be in 2041, people are going to lose their mind.
Well, if it's 15 years, it'd be from 2022, right?
Well, I guess. Sure. I was talking
even
about
even 2037,
right, yes.
if that's the gap, and we're already, 4 years into it.
Doesn't sound too fun.
Well, honestly, it doesn't sound that far away, though, either.
No, you can look at it that way.
Depending on how you want to look at it from, market to market. And if you go to the aforementioned Chicago, the Bears, the shuffling crew was 85. The last Jordan Bulls was 98.
Cubs have won.
Yeah. And
Cubs won.
I think the Blackhawks got 1 or 2 in there as well. But, it's been, they don't have as many as we do in that time.
Sharks are a very good team. They've got unbelievable young talent, but they didn't even make the playoffs in the NHL where 16 teams go. However, obviously, and they got another great pick this year. The over-under for the San Jose Sharks is July 2030.
Wow.
I know. It's optimistic.
Yeah.
But they've got the people already.
They do.
You would think. They just need to grow and gel. I think they've got the people.
Yeah.
No?
They have the start of the people. They've got the makings of the people.
They've got the most important person.
They do. You still have a goalie and you have a defense that needs a lot of help.
Of course.
But right now you've got 3 or 4 really bright, young teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to talk about 2030, that's 4 years from now. Macklin Celebrini will be 23, 24. Misa the same. I put it actually at 2033. I thought that was a better, because in hockey,
have to re-sign Macklin a couple times here.
Oh, and they will.
Yeah.
And the rest of them. But to me, it seems like in hockey, you can be young and phenomenal, but the grown men are the ones who hoist the cup.
You're not wrong.
So I'm going to go with the over on 2030.
Okay.
I like your optimism when it comes to the Sharks, and I love what they're doing. And the way they're
4 more seasons after this one.
And I got 3 more after that.
Okay.
I got Macklin as a guy in his mid-prime, as a 27-year-old who actually can shave.
With a beard, yeah.
Right.
Okay.